Hey everybody, my name is Deja and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing the mid-year book freakout tag. I love this tag so much because I feel like it's like little snapshots of people's reading year so far. I wish that we also had a version of this tag for the end of the year that everybody did. Everybody does the mid-year book freakout tag, but we don't always all do this type of tag towards the end of the year, and I wish we did. I feel like it would just show everybody's reading year in a glimpse in one video, and it's just so easy to consume from every single person. Like I watch every single mid-year book freakout tag that come across my YouTube homepage because I just love the tag so much. I normally wait until July to actually film this video. Y'all will be seeing this in July, but I'm actually filming this at the end of June, and I thought it was just fine this year. It's close enough. There's only a couple days left in June, so I'll probably only read 1 or 2 books more in the first half of the year than what I'll actually be talking about in this video, which I think is fine. I know some people start posting these at like the beginning of June, which I don't understand because that's not midway through the year, but this is close enough to the midway point when I'm filming this that I thought it would be fine. And I'm going to go over my mid-year statistics so far. As I said, I'll probably read a couple more books in June that will skew these a little bit, but so far these are my statistics, and I make this spreadsheet myself, which I have a whole video about if you would like to get this spreadsheet from me. And it's such like a fun part of my reading year to see my statistics, so I want to be able to share them with y'all. So far this year I've read 74 books, which is absolutely amazing considering that usually I read around 100 to 120 books in a year. So far I'm on track to hit 150, which is absolutely insane to me. I average 6.167 books a month, but that accounts for all 12 months in the year. So it's really a little over 12 books per month so far. I've read 24,763 pages. I haven't reread anything. I haven't officially DNF'd anything. I've soft DNF'd a few things, but I haven't hard DNF'd anything. For January, I read 13 books. February, I read 10. March, I read 15. April, I read 11. May, I read 12, and June, I've read 13 so far. And then 22 had queer representation or queer author, and 22 also had a BIPOC author. Also, 48 of the books I have physically owned that I've read. For type, I've read 68 novels, no poetry, no plays, 4 novellas, 1 short story collection, and 3 graphic novels / manga / manhwa. For format of books, I've read 35 on audio, 7 as ebooks, 5 physical books, and 27 as hybrid, which is usually a mixture of audiobook with ebook or physical book. For representation in books, I had 7 that were just queer, 5 that were just BIPOC, 1 with disability, 11 with mental, 0 that just had religion, and then 33 had multiple of those. 4 of them had something that wasn't in those other categories, and 13 had none. And when it comes to publications, 63 have been traditionally published and 11 have been indie published. When it comes to acquired, 50 of them I physically owned, but a lot of the times I also will read them as ebooks or audiobooks, even if I already physically own them. But of the books that I don't physically own, 4 of them I read as ARCs or ebooks that I owned. 5 were from Audible / Libro FM. 2 of them were for Everand. 1 was from the library physically, and then 12 of them I borrowed from the library digitally. Then, as I said, some of the ones that I physically owned, I read them as audiobooks, and I got them from Spotify or from Libro. But 50 of them I do physically own, or I did at the time. Some of them I've since unhauled. For author status, I had 12 that were debut, 30 that were new to me, and 32 repeat authors. 70 of the books have been adult books, and then I had 4 YA. For ratings, I feel like so far this year, my rating has been struggling a little bit. Normally I have like a 3.8, I want to say. So far, my rating this year has been a 3.6875 average rating. I haven't had any 1 or 1.5 stars. I've had 4 2 stars, 7 2.5, 7 3 stars, 17 3.5 stars, 22 4 stars, 7 4.5 stars, and 8 5 stars, and 2 books that I didn't rate because they were memoirs. So as you can see, I've had a lot of like 3.5 and 4 stars, which is fine, but I wish I had more 4.5 and 5 stars. And lastly, for genre, I read 3 dystopian, 2 fantasy, 1 fantasy romance, 1 historical, 24 horror books, 6 literary fiction, 1 magical realism, 10 mystery, 3 nonfiction, 12 romance, 1 sci-fi, 1 speculative, and 9 thrillers. So this has really been the year of horror, romance, and mystery, which is normally horror, romance, and thrillers. But if you combine mystery and thrillers together, I've read quite a few. I've read 19, almost as much as horror. But this has really been the year that I'm getting back into horror because last year I kind of took a little bit of a break from it. Now we're going to get into the mid-year book freakout questions, and I think these questions are ones that I've actually taken from my friend Haley, I want to say. I don't really remember. I said it in last year's video, but I didn't feel like going back and looking at it. So there are some additional questions in here that have been added from the original mid-year book freakout tag, and I think I got them from Haley, but I'm not 100% sure. I just know that I got them from someone else, okay? So the first question is the best book that you've read so far this year, and I have 3 that really stand out to me. I've had 8 5 stars, so I can mention all 8 because they are my top 8 contenders for the year so far, but I have 3 that have really stood out to me a lot. The The first one that I have is A Botanical Daughter by Noah Medlock. Originally, I gave this one 4.5 stars, but sitting on it, when I look back at my reading year so far, this one really stands out to me as a favorite. This one is a Frankenstein retelling where we follow two men in the Victorian era England, and they are gay and they live together. One of them is a botanist and one of them does taxidermy, and they take this plant and basically put it into a dead body and kind of treat it as a living sentient creature that is like their child. It is crazy. It is insane. It is definitely a slower paced, more historical horror book, but I just thought this one was so intense and it was so crazy. I absolutely loved the atmosphere in this one and I ate it up, frankly. I read it all in one night. Then, surprisingly, I also have Funny Story by Emily Henry. We'll get to my most surprising books later on, but I loved this book and it really took me by surprise because I read Emily Henry and one of them I didn't like. One of them I rated 4 stars, and so I just never thought I'd be an Emily Henry girl like that. I would ever have a 5-star Emily Henry, but this is it. This one's obviously romance, so it follows two characters, and basically their partners decide to leave both their respective relationships and get together. And so now our two main characters are kind of just left out in the dust with no one to be their roommates and help pay rent. So they move in together, and it is their romance. I really loved our main character, Daphne, so much. I thought she was an amazing character. She's actually a librarian, which I loved seeing her passion for being a librarian. And also, I really resonated with her story. I liked it a lot, especially her like trying to make friends and trying to make a life for herself because she basically up moved her life to this new area for her partner, and now her partner is not in her life, and so she's trying to figure out how to make a life for herself and navigate that. And I just thought it was so excellently done. Miles, the main male character in the story, was so amazing. The way that he treated Daphne was phenomenal, and I just really loved their dynamic and their relationship. It was such a good read, and I'm so happy that I gave Emily Henry a third chance. And my favorite book of the year so far is The Women by Kristen Hanna. This one also really had me gagged and gooped because I'm not a historical fiction girl. I don't really read much of it. I like historical horror, but just reading like plain historical books, you can see I've only read one this year, and that is this one. And I just ate this one up. It made me sob so bad. And this one just basically follows a woman who goes to be a nurse in the Vietnam War, and we're following her in her time at the Vietnam War, but then also when she comes back and her dealing with her trauma and her relationships that she's developed at the Vietnam War. And it's so touching. It's so heartbreaking. And this story truly left me shattered, honestly, and it was just so phenomenal. It was so good. I absolutely adored this book, and I'm chasing this feeling that this book gave me. Question 2 is the best sequel that you read so far this year, and I also have 3 for this one, 3 that I've rated 5 stars, and 2 of them are actually by the same author, Jesse Q. Sutanto. The first one is For Aunties and a Wedding. I'm actually currently in the middle of the 3rd book in the series, but I have not finished it yet, and I'm only like 15% of the way in, so I don't want to mention that one, but this one was so fun. I loved the first book in the series, and this one also was really amazing. In the series, we always have kind of weddings at the forefront of this story, and we follow our main character, and she helps to run this wedding business with her 4 aunts and her mom, and they all run this wedding business together, and they always get up to murder and mayhem in these books. They're so fun. This one actually follows our main character when she's having her own wedding, which I thought was a really interesting kind of play on the first book. And these ones are kind of cozy crime books. Like, they're not mystery. There's no mystery in them, and some people market them as romance first, but I don't think so. It's definitely like a cozy crime book because there's always like murder or crime or something related to that at the forefront of these stories, but they're very cozy, they're very fun, they're hilarious, and I love them. The other book that I love by this author that I don't physically own yet is Vera Wong's Guide to Snooping on a Dead Man. This is the 2nd book in the Vera Wong series, and I love Vera so much. I honestly think I love the Vera series more than Aunties, and this one is definitely like a cozy mystery. We're basically just following Vera Wong as she is meddling into murders and trying to solve them for herself. She's like a 60-year-old Asian woman that runs a tea shop, and she's so iconic. She's so amazing. I love her, and she really brings together found family in her stories, and that's truly what I love about them, is seeing her bring these people together. And she is a little bit abrasive, she's a little bit blunt, but she's so hilarious, she's so funny, and as I said, she's iconic. Okay, I love her, and so I had to mention her in this tag. And then lastly for this question, I have Can't Get Enough by Kennedy Ryan. This book has literally seen better days. I bought this at the airport when I went to go to Texas. She has nail glue on her. She has stains on the spine. She's peeling up at the corner because I was reading her on the plane. I was reading her at the pool. She was in my bag. That's how she got nail glue. Literally, she has my flight ticket on here with stains and stuff on it. It's crazy, but I loved this book, okay? And this art in here is amazing. This is the last book in the Before I Let Go series, which I love, and I would say this one is honestly my second favorite. Before I Let Go, I think is still my first favorite, but I love this one so much. This one follows Hendrix, and she is honestly like a badass businesswoman. She takes control of her life. She doesn't really need a partner. She doesn't want kids, and she's like a little bit older in her 40s. All the characters are like middle-aged kind of age. They're all in like their 40s, and she comes across this man, Maverick, and he's like this tech mogul. And when she first sees Maverick, she's instantly drawn to him. And when they speak, she feels so connected to him. But she's actually a manager for a celebrity, and the celebrity is Maverick's ex because they wanted kids and Maverick did not. Maverick already has a daughter and he does not want to start over with having more kids. So they end up breaking up. So Hendrix manages her, but is also kind of drawn to Maverick. And we also have some really heavy themes in here that are talked about with Hendrix's mom. Her mom has dementia, and we are following her as she's also trying to navigate her family relationships and dynamics with her mom's dementia. This book is so amazing. It's so multi-layered. It's fun. It's sexy. It's romantic, but it's also heartbreaking and hard to read. And it's truly like the epitome of life. That's what I love about Kennedy Ryan's books is they feel like real life because they have great moments, they have hard moments, and everything in between. And they're just so phenomenally written and explored and just everything. I love them. Okay, I love her book. Question 3 is new release you haven't read yet but you want to, and I've pulled so many, so I'm just going to pick up the stack and we're going to go through them. Okay, so here are all the physical ones that I own that really stand out to me. The stack is honestly heavy. So I have Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales. This is the third book in the Emily Wilde series, which I love. This is like a cozy fantasy fairy series. It's so good and I absolutely love this series, so I would love to finish it all. I also have Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. This is one of her new books, but I know this one has to do with vampires, which really intrigues me because I love anything to do with vampires. I also have The Favorites by Lane Fargo. This one I was kind of excited and nervous to read, which is why I haven't read it yet because I've heard really amazing things about this, but then also really not good things about this. But I know this one is kind of like a drama romance book that follows figure skaters, and it sounds really good, but some of the bad things that I've heard about this one have put me off a little bit, but I'm still excited to read it nonetheless. I also have My Friends by Frederick Bachman. I really enjoy his work. I don't think he's gotten a 5-star from me yet, but I really like his work. Honestly, I don't really know anything about this one, but I picked it up because it's his new release, and I want to see if he can get a 5-star for me because I feel like he can. He's such an amazing author, and I just haven't fully like connected with his books. I haven't fully gotten that 5-star feeling, but I feel it. It's like right there, so I'm really excited to try this one out. I also have Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McConaughey. I've heard everybody and their mama talk good about this book. Everybody has loved this book. I think it's more of like a mystery. I don't even know exactly what it's about, but everybody has just talked about this book. Originally, I didn't even get it from Book of the Month when it came out in March, but everybody talked about this one so much and so highly that I went back and got it the next month because it just sounded so good when everybody talked about it. Of course, I also have With a Vengeance by Riley Sager. This is his new release. This is kind of like an Agatha Christie one-by-one train thriller mystery, and I'm a little bit nervous to read it because I feel like lately his books have been good but not as good as they used to be, and this one is not really one that's of my typical alley of what I enjoy in a mystery or a thriller, so we'll see how I feel about this one. I'm nervous to read it but excited. I also have my most anticipated release of the year, which I have not read yet, even though it's been out for a couple weeks because I chose it for my in-person book club in July. So I've been waiting and holding off, but that is King of Ashes by S.A. Cosby. I love him so much. His 2023 release is one of my favorite books of all time. I love that one so much. All the Sinners Bleed. It's so good. And this one also sounds really phenomenal. I love all of his books, honestly. And I'm just so excited to have a new release from him since he didn't come out with one last year. And then also I have Shy Girl by Mia Ballard. I recently discovered Mia Ballard this year. I read one of her other books so far, but a lot of people talked about this one. I know this one leans more extreme horror, and it has to do with a woman who goes on a sugar daddy website and then agrees to become this man's like dog. Like she works and he pays her to be like his dog, and it goes more extreme horror. So I'm really excited to try this one out. I have a couple that I don't own that I really want to read. The first one is Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This one just sounds so good that it has to do with astronauts. I've never read a book I don't think that has to do with astronauts, at least in fiction. So I'm really excited for this one. Also, Sounds Like Love by Ashley Poston is one I really want to read because I love Ashley Poston. I've rated all of her books like 4.5 stars or above. And this one I think has to do with music. I'm not 100% sure, but I really enjoy her work, so I definitely need to pick this one. And then lastly, I have Blood in the Water by Tiffany D. Jackson. This is a middle grade release from her. All of her other books have been YA so far, I believe. but I am really excited for anything that she writes. And this one is a new one that she has. It's like a middle grade mystery, and it sounds so good. And I do love middle grade. Whenever I read middle grade, I eat it up, honestly. Question 4 is most anticipated release for the second half of the year. Of course, I have multiple. I have A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Sangu Mandana. This is the same author who wrote A Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, which is a cozy fantasy that I really, really love. And this is a new one coming from her. I thought it was in the same series, but it's not, but it has similar vibes based off the cover, so I think I'm really going to enjoy this one. I have Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson, which is her adult debut. This one comes out July 22nd. I'm really excited for this one because I've enjoyed the majority of her work. I've read, I think, 4 of her books. I still have not finished A Good Girl's Guide to Murder series yet, but I love that series. 5 out of 5 star series so far. And then I also really like the reappearance of Rachel Price. The only one I wasn't a huge fan of was, I can't remember what it's called, but it was her other YA book. But I'm really excited to see her dive into adult books. Then I have Blood Moon by Brittany S. Lewis that comes out August 12th. This is a Black vampires book. All I need to know. I have We Are All Guilty Here by Karen Slaughter, which also comes out August 12th. And this one is a new book in a series from her. I love Karen Slaughter so much. I don't know if I'm going to get around to this one this year. I have so many other books from her, and I really want to finish up the Grant County series, but I'm excited for a new series from her. Then, of course, there's Calabasas by R.F. Kuang, which comes out August 26th. Everybody's excited for this one. I believe it's actually a fantasy, but everybody's just been hyping it up so much. I'm going to need to read it so I can be in the know with everybody else. And I really enjoyed Yellowface by this author. Then another one of my most anticipated releases of the year is Play Nice by Rachel Harrison, which comes out September 9th. I know nothing about this book. I think it might be a haunted house, which I don't usually love, but I love Rachel Harrison. I read all of her work, so I need to pick this one up. October 7th, there's another book by Tiffany D. Jackson coming out, which is called The Scammer, which is a YA thriller book, I believe. And again, I love Tiffany Jackson. Gotta pick up anything that she's coming out with. And then lastly, I put on here Boomtown by Nick Stone, which comes out October 14th. And this is like a thriller book that has to do with strippers. And I really like that. I feel like it's going to give me P-Valley vibes, which is what I'm hoping for. I think a stripper goes missing, and I'm excited. I'm really, really excited for this one. Question 5 is biggest disappointment. And honestly, I have 5 of them because this year I've read quite a few books that definitely disappointed me. First up, I have Scythe and Sparrow by Bryn Weaver. I really love the series. I actually just copied the Notion page that I filled out last year. I was looking at my answers for last year, and I literally had Butcher and Blackbird on my favorites list for last year, and then this one is in my most disappointing. So that's honestly insane that the series went so downhill for me, but I love the first book so much. I really enjoyed the second book, but this book just did not hit for me. I don't know, I just didn't really feel the romantic connection. I didn't really feel like the kind of like murder element of the series played really well into this book. I don't know, like I feel like what are the chances that 3 brothers are all going to be like murderers and end up with women who are also murderers? Like it just seems so unlikely. I really wasn't kind of in the story. I feel like the first 2 ones made more sense, but this one just kind of was a little bit of an outlier in the series, and it just wasn't my favorite. It just really disappointed me because I love the other 2 so much. I also have Remarkably Bright Creatures, which disappointed me because I love the cover, and I was really excited about this one because I knew we had the perspective of an octopus in it, and it took place in an aquarium, which I love marine life so much. I always have, always will. So I was really excited to have a book that had that kind of aquatic marine life element in it, and this one just really, really let me down. One of the characters was absolutely insufferable and ruined the whole book for me. We didn't get enough of the octopus's perspective, and it overall was just like a boring read, and I honestly could have gone my entire life without reading this book and would have been perfectly fine. I also have One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid, another one where I thought the concept sounded so good. This is basically about a woman who gets married to a man, he goes missing, and now it's years later and she ends up developing a relationship with another man after grieving her husband, who she presumes to be dead, and then her husband comes back and is like, "Ayo, I'm not dead," but now she's engaged to another man, and she's trying to come to terms with her husband being alive, but then also loving this other man who is in this relationship with her currently. And I just didn't feel connected to either of the romances. I feel like we only got like little highlight reels of each relationship, so I didn't feel connected to either one, so I didn't feel like rooting for anyone. I didn't really care, honestly. It just was so boring and hard to get through because there was no emotional connection to either romance. Like, how am I going to read a romance and not feel connection to either of the romances in the story? Like, it was insane. And then the way that this turned out, I felt like was so convenient and not realistic at all. I also read I Who Have Never Known Men, which I did not like at all because I feel like this book was, again, pointless. I could have gone my whole life without reading this one and I would have been perfectly fine because this added nothing to my life. It just fell super flat for me. Like, I'm fine with an ambiguous ending, but honestly, in this one, besides like one thing, nothing happens in the story to me. Like, it's all very monotonous. It's all very boring. Like, nothing of note really happened except for one thing, and I just felt like it was a boring book and it added nothing to my life. And then lastly, I have When the Moon Hatches was a fantasy romance that I read and I really did not like. I honestly blocked it out of my memory because it was so bad. I truly really did not like this book. I didn't give it 1 star because 1 star I feel like you have to be doing something really horrible, really egregious. Like I really have to hate the book. I didn't hate this one, but it got very, very close to hatred because it just didn't make any sense to me at all. What I was really interested in the story kind of fell off. Everything was all over the place, not organized, nothing made sense, and it was just a mess. Honestly, truly a mess of a book. Question 6 is Biggest Surprise, and of course I have to mention these two. They are in my favorites, top 2 of the year. These are my top 2 favorite books, and that surprises me because if you guys know, I normally read mostly horror and thrillers, and so I would think that a horror book would be my favorite of the year, and instead I have an Emily Henry and a Kristen Hanna. Like that alone has me gagged because these are such popular authors, and I don't always really love super popular books. Like I enjoy a lot of them, but I don't always love them, and I loved these. Again, if you told me that I would have my favorite book of the year be a historical fiction book that takes place in Vietnam or is about the Vietnam War, I would have been like, are you crazy? Because like that sounds like a book I would never read, and for it to be my favorite book of the year absolutely has me gagged and floored. And then Funny Story by Emily Henry, again, like I just never thought I was going to be an Emily Henry girl. I thought the most that I would ever give her books are 4 star because I just didn't think that they would be for me, but I loved this one. It was just so phenomenal, and I really resonated with the story. I also have 2 other books to mention. The first one is The Perfect Divorce by Geneva Rose. This is the sequel to The Perfect Marriage, and I just thought this one was going to be a cash grab, honestly. Like I was excited to read it because I love The Perfect Marriage so much, but I didn't think this book was really going to hit. Like I didn't think it was going to be as good as the first one. I don't think it's as good, but it was definitely really good. It was a little bit slower for me in the beginning portion, but the end twist of this one absolutely had me gagged and gooped. Like I loved the end, and it gave me the same feelings that I had when I read the first book, which I did not think would be possible. So I really liked this one, and it was really good, and it surprised me because again, I didn't think it was going to be as good. I thought it was just going to be a cash grab. And then lastly, I have My Husband, which I don't own, but this was a surprising 5 star. I just went on to Libby one day and I was just checking out a whole bunch of books I had on like my screenshots from like screenshotting other people's videos, and then also from my wish list. And so I just had this one that someone talked about. I thought it sounded good, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna have it and check it out. And then one day I was like, I need an audiobook, so I'm just gonna listen to it, and I absolutely loved it and gave it 5 stars. I didn't expect it. Just I listened to it one day on a whim, and I absolutely loved it, and it was just crazy to me how much I liked it. But I really resonated with the story heavily, and I connected to it so much on a personal level that I did not expect at all. Question 7 is favorite new author, which can be debut or new to you. And of course, again, I have to mention Miss Kristen Hanna. I've read 2 of her books now, and I gave them a 5 star and a 4.5 star, and I really liked her. And so I put her on this list. I feel like it takes more than 2 books to be classified as a favorite new author from me. I didn't want to just mention authors that y'all already know that I like Jessie Husitano. I read 2 of her books last year, so now to me, she's officially a favorite author because I've read 4 of her books and I loved all of them, but y'all already knew that I loved her. So this is one that's been put on my radar that I absolutely am so interested in. I don't think I can read a lot of Kristen Hanna's books like back to back. Like I can't just binge her books because they're so emotional and so heavy, but I definitely plan on diving a lot more into her backlist because her books really are so well written, and I didn't expect to love historical fiction books so much. And also, I've only read 1 book from this author, but that is Mia Ballard. I mentioned Shy Girl as one of the books that I want to read this year that I haven't yet, but I read Sugar by her, and I really liked this one. I gave it 4.5 stars because the end wasn't my favorite. I loved every single thing about this book, but just a little portion of the end was not my absolute favorite. But this one was so good. I love an unhinged woman. This was like a perfect horror book for me. Like honestly, it was so good. Besides that little bit of the end, I'm just so happy I found a Black author who writes these types of books that I love. Like it's just not really common to have stories that I love portrayed through a Black lens, and so having that was so phenomenal for me, and I'm just so happy that I found her. Question 8 is newest fictional crush, and I definitely have a couple because I've been reading some good romances this year. Of course, again, Miles from Funny Story. I really loved him, and I didn't think a white man would make it to my list, honestly, but I really thought he was so funny, and I love that he was just so like chill and relax and go with the flow, because even though my boyfriend and him are very different, some of their like mentalities and behaviors and the way that they talk and treat their women, it really just reminded me a lot of him in certain ways, and I really liked it. They are very different, but they're also very similar in a lot of ways, and it just reminded me a lot of him. Then of course I have Maverick from Can't Get Enough. This is a man who, if he wants to, he will. Okay, if he wants to, he will. And I love that. Like, I love a man who sees that a woman needs something and will go and do it for her. Like, I love that. I think it is one of the best like traits in a man. Like, when a man does it, it's such a like it is, okay, you guys know it is. He really sees her, which is so valuable, and then sees what she needs and does it for her and is there for her, but doesn't overstep, and like it strikes the perfect balance between showing up for her but then also giving her the space that she needs when she needs it. And I love that. And then I wanted to mention Rome from Only for the Week, because he is also very similar to Maverick in certain ways. I just knew he was the newest fictional crush for me when he did this. Our main character, she's at this wedding for her sister. Her sister's getting married. Her sister's being a bridezilla, okay? And they're like at this wedding a week early so they can like chill, relax, whatever. But her sister's being a bridezilla, so she can't. But her one wish is that she just wants to read by the water, but she can't because her sister's being a bridezilla. So he literally tells everybody like, hey, she's not going to be able to do anything. We're going somewhere, takes her, and then rents out a whole yacht for her to just be able to read on the yacht. Like, okay, a true man, a true man. Question 9 is newest favorite character. I've mentioned these ones already, but Hendrix from Can't Get Enough. She's amazing. I love how badass she is and that she truly knows what she wants. I'm so excited for when I'm around her age and I feel so settled in my life and I know what I want, and I've done that with my life, and I love that that's what she does. She knows what she wants. She stands firm in it. She knows who she is and she stands firm in it, and she's comfortable with her life. She's happy with her life, and I just love that so much. Hendrix is one of my newest favorite characters, but she could also be one of my newest fictional crushes because I love her. Sometimes I get into this thing with women, especially in books, where I'm like, do I want to be with them? Like, are they my crush, or do I want to be them? Like, are they one of my newest favorite characters? So she could go in either category really, but I loved her regardless, so I wanted to mention her. I also have to mention Satara, Miss Unhinged Woman, Queen. Like, honestly, one of the most unhinged women that I've ever read about. She's absolutely insane, and I love her in the best way possible. I love that she's so unhinged, but she also tries to like have this perfect little life, and honestly, I relate to it. I really really love her, and she was so crazy in the best way possible. I have 2 Veras I actually want to mention, and of course I have Vera from Vera Wong's Guide to Snooping on a Dead Man. I love Vera. She's absolutely iconic. I love her. Like, she is really that girl, and she knows it, okay? She knows that she's that girl, and she's gonna eat every single time. Like, I love her, everything about her. She's so fun, she's so quirky, she's so lovable, but also very blunt, abrasive, and I just absolutely adore her. But then I also wanted to mention Vera from Shady Hollow. This is a cozy mystery that I read, and she's a fox that is actually a reporter, and I love how she just like digs into things and is gonna figure things out, and I just loved the story so much. It was such a fun story, and Vera really stood out to me as a character. I really really had such a fun time reading from her perspective. And then lastly, for this question, I've read this character before, but he didn't really hit for me or become a favorite character for me until this book, and that is Haymitch from Sunrise on the Reaping. I loved him. Of course, I actually really felt for him when I read him in the other books. He never annoyed me like how he did annoy some other people, but I didn't really like love him or connect with him fully as I did in this book, because this was his story and we saw him in his own Hunger Games, and that really struck a chord with me. All the trauma and things that he went through, it was honestly so heartbreaking, but I really loved following him, and he is such a great character. Question 10 is a book that made you cry. So a book that made me tear up is Finding Me by Viola Davis. The story is so powerful. I love Viola. She is an amazing actress, and she's just an amazing woman in general. And what she went through was so reminiscent of the stories that I heard of my mom, of her life growing up. And it really just struck a chord with me. It truly made me tear up because she came from nothing and made herself into something. And while I don't think that's going to be realistic for the majority of people, it's still such a powerful and truly moving story. And so of course it brought some tears to my eyes. But the story that made me sob, again, the one by Kristen Hanna, this book made me, I remember I was listening to the audiobook and I was sitting on my couch in my college apartment and I was just sobbing away because I related to the story so much. What I love about Kristen Hanna is that even though these women are so different from me, she writes mostly like these white women. Like, I don't really necessarily relate to them on paper, but their experiences are still things that I relate to, and I relate to their emotions and how they feel and how they treat it. I really just love the story so much, and it truly moved me and changed my life. Like, this is the book out of all these books this year that truly has changed me on a different level. Question 11 is a book that made you happy. First up, I want to go with This Book Will Bury Me by Ashley Winstead. This one is not one that you would think of would traditionally make me happy because it's a pretty heavy thriller. This one made me happy because it is my first 5-star thriller that I've had in over a year. Okay, that alone made me happy because I haven't had a 5-star thriller in forever, and this one was her. It really did that, and I was just so happy because I started to fall out of love with thrillers, and I was like, are thrillers really for me anymore? Should I even read them? And this reminded me that there are good ones out there and that I should pick them up because this one was so good, and this one had me so gripped in the story. I absolutely loved this one so much. I also wanted to mention Ready or Not by Cara Bastone because this one is like a single mom romance where this woman finds out that she's pregnant and she's not in a relationship with the man who got her pregnant. I think he's actually in a relationship himself, but another man steps up and really cares for her and also cares for her unborn baby. I just love seeing a woman who would generally be kind of like thrown to the side by society was truly loved and seen. And then lastly, I also have Forget Me Not by Julie Soto. This was just such a fun romance that I read at the perfect time. It's about a wedding planner and a florist, and they're kind of enemies to lovers. And I just really was smiling at the end of this book. It made me so happy to read this, and it was perfect read for spring. I really had such a fun time with this one. Question 12 is the most beautiful book that you've acquired so far this year, and I have to go with The Starving Saints because this cover, okay, it's fine. Like, it's not like the best cover to me, but underneath is where it gets stunning. Like, this to me with the honeycomb is absolutely beautiful, and then it has a little bit on the back. Like, I love this edition. Like, it is absolutely stunning to me, so I had to put this one. It's like the only answer. So the puppy is here now. He wants to stay up here. So question 13 is favorite book to movie adaptation so far this year, and I don't believe that I've watched any. Definitely not any movies, and I don't think any TV shows either, but I will say Sinners is my favorite movie so far this year that I watched for the first time this year. Sinners is so good. Go watch Sinners. It's not a book to movie adaptation, but please go watch it. The only kind of book adaptation that I could see myself watching is We Were Liars is a show that came out, and I read the book before, so I could see myself watching that show. I'm just in the middle of a couple other shows, and then also The Summer I Turned Pretty season 3 comes out in a couple weeks from when I'm filming this, or maybe like a week or two, so I also really want to watch that as well. And question 14 is what books do you need to read before the end of the year? And that stack of books that I showed you that I have not read so far, like all of those anticipated releases I need to read. I'm so excited for all of them. I have to read them. But then also I really just want to focus on getting down my physical TBR. I finally was able to go through and unhaul books, but then also like put all the books that I have into an app on my phone so I can actually see how many physical books that I own that I haven't read, and it's honestly egregious. So I need to like work on that a little bit. And then also I want to read my 25 books to read in 2025. We're halfway through the year and I've only read 9 of the 25, so I still have 16 left. So I need to up my game a little bit. I think there's a couple of them that I won't get to because I'm not as excited to read them anymore, but the majority of them I'm still really excited to read, so I want to try and get that done. And then also my seasonal TBRs and my arcs. I love making my seasonal TBRs every single season. They're so fun and I love getting through them. I really want to catch up on my arcs, and I have ones from previous years that I need to go through and read. So I really want to catch up on those and make sure I stay up to date on my actual arcs that are coming out as well. So that was my mid-year book freakout tag. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I would love to know down below what your favorite book of the year is so far, because maybe I'll put them into a video. Please let me know what your favorite book is in the comments of this year, because maybe I'll do a little video. And while you're down there, to let me know that you made it to the end, put these stack of book emojis, and I will see y'all next one. Bye everybody.